stop punishing yourself for things that you did a long time ago, things that you did when you didn't have the information and knowledge that you have now, things that you did when you were immature, things that you did when you were simply trying to survive and learn in this life. I know how easy it is to get stuck in this never-ending loop of replaying our mistakes over and over again, not being able to forgive ourselves, beating ourselves up for the things that we did wrong, because I have done it over and over and over again. But here's the truth. Punishing yourself doesn't fix it. It doesn't make the mistakes go away. It doesn't make it better. If you want to punish yourself, the best way to punish yourself is by getting better, doing better, learning from your mistake, and moving forward. And I would argue that punishing yourself in that way is much more of a punishment than it is sitting here thinking about the ways that you messed up. Today, I want to talk about something that I've been struggling with, and that is actually forgiving myself. It has been so difficult for me to move past the things that I've done wrong. And some of the thoughts that I have is that the person that I was to someone else years ago is the person that they're going to remember me as. And it's probably true. And they probably won't always have the best, most fond memories of me. But that's something that I had to take accountability for. And I've been able to work on myself to grow, and I'm showing up better for the people who are in my life now, the people who do love and care about me, the people who I do love and care about, and I'm a better person because of it. But the more that I've let myself stay there is the more that I'm preventing myself from moving forward, and it's not helping them, it's not helping me, it's not helping either person. And the people in your life now are going to appreciate that, and you're going to be a better person and show up better because of it. I think about this a lot too, is that it's insane how kind we are to other people and how easily we can oftentimes forgive our loved ones or forgive people and can't do that with ourselves. The other thing that I think about a lot is that sometimes there are people who have a very, very difficult time forgiving others. They cannot move past things. They hold grudges. And I wonder a lot of times if those people are the ones that have the most harsh inner critic of themselves. And it's kind of like an outward projection of how they're feeling on the inside. So because they're never able to forgive themselves for things, they project that onto other people and they can't forgive other people for things. So it's so interesting to me. I actually got my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I have a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology, which is kind of like workplace psychology. But I always am still curious about the human experience and why certain people have different reactions. So I will always be fascinated by these types of things and the ways people show up. But I guess if you do fall into that second bucket, ask yourself, how much of your anger towards others is actually a reflection of the inner anger that you've held towards yourself or against yourself? It's a tough question. Another thing that I think makes this so complex and nuanced is mental health. And when you throw mental health into the mix, it could trickle into a deep depression, or the guilt can hold them back from ever getting better. And I've experienced that, and I still struggle that today, which is why I made this video, because there are times where I feel like I'm making progress and I'm headed in the right direction, and then I'll randomly get this thought out of, in the middle of the day of 10 years ago when I said something I really should not have said, or 5 years ago when I couldn't control my anger and I freaked out on a family member and said the most hateful things that I could think of. And I just think about all these times, and then the more I think about it is the longer I sit there, and it's the more that I'm holding myself back from ever getting better and ever being able to make good choices, because I'm constantly angry towards myself and hate myself for the person that I used to be. And that's not me anymore. And I don't want to be that way anymore. And I'm not that way anymore. So why am I treating myself like I'm still this broken individual that's not able to be healed? There are times where I will look at people who I either went to school with or knew of, and I see how their lives have unfolded. And sometimes I just get sad because I think I didn't have the tools and resources when I was a child and in my childhood to be able to transition into adulthood seamlessly. I didn't have a mom and a dad that set a good example for me. I had a lot of trauma that I was trying to overcome, and I just naturally didn't make good choices. And that's a result of my childhood. But at some point, I had to take accountability and learn the hard way, which I have, all the ways that I hurt people and I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. And so I look at these people sometimes that I went to school with and I'm like, it's just not fair. They had the resources and they had the tools, so they knew how to make good decisions. They knew how to do this and they knew how to do that. And look where they're at now, and it's just not fair. And then I think, how much more wisdom and knowledge have I gained? You know, we don't always know what goes on behind closed doors. I don't know how much they know. I don't know what they're struggling with. They could be struggling with the simplest things, things that I think would be a piece of cake now because I have so much more wisdom and practice at different things in life. So I think it's unfair to compare ourselves to people, and I try to remind myself that when I'm beating myself up or thinking negatively on myself. We're all on our own paths and we're all on our own journeys, and each of our own paths and journeys can serve a different purpose and in different ways. We are all human and we're going to make mistakes, regardless if you have mental health issues or not. No one in this world has ever made it through without making mistakes. Our heroes, the people that we look up to, I guarantee every single one of them is going to tell you that they've made mistakes along the way. They might not say they have regrets. Some people do say that they don't regret anything, and I do admire those people because I regret a lot of things. But I think that they can still recognize that they've made mistakes along the way and that they haven't been perfect. And I think, like, why do we even expect ourselves to be perfect? Why do we expect to just get things right? Life is so complex. Life is so difficult for everybody. All of these things are so difficult. So you have to give yourself more grace. Give yourself more grace. The difference between the people who say that they made mistakes but say they don't have any regrets and the people who live in regret is that the people who don't regret anything, those people didn't let those mistakes define them. They did not let those mistakes define who they were in the future. They moved past them. They recognized, hey, I might have made a mistake, but they were able to move past it in a way that didn't hold on to those regrets and hold on to that guilt. One thing that I think about is, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the universe, whether you don't believe in anything at all, whether you believe in karma, whatever you believe, I operate on the belief that I do feel like things happen for a reason. Not everything. I don't think everything happens for a reason. Some things are just tragedies. Some things are unfortunate events. Some things are unfortunate coincidences. Some things are pleasant coincidences, But I do believe that there are lessons that I have learned that has made me a better wife. It's made me a better mom. It's made me a better person. And it's given me the opportunity to come on this YouTube channel and be able to talk about my experiences. Just knowing that and thinking that there's a purpose behind it, and maybe someday, somewhere, I can help someone through my mistakes, it just gives me a sense of peace and a sense of hope. And you might not subscribe to that, but I just thought that I would share because it's something that really does help me and it puts things into perspective for me. So I guess to kind of wrap this video up, one thing that I've been doing recently when I struggle to forgive myself for things is, number one, I will ask, what purpose is this guilt serving? And is it helping me by sitting in this guilt? Is it helping the other person by sitting in this guilt? And many times the answer is going to be no. The other important question I ask myself is, have I learned from this? In the example of getting angry and not being able to control my emotions, if I start feeling guilty for the past, have I gotten better? Have I been able to learn how to manage my emotions? Have I been able to manage anger and been able to manage rage? And the answer is yes. And immediately I at least feel a little bit better because I'm saying, like, yes, I have learned from that mistake. Yes, I have improved and made progress from that mistake. And if the answer is no to that question, then my next question is, how can I learn from this? And how can I turn this into growth and healing? And how can I move past this? And the last thing I'll say is the best revenge, even self-revenge, is getting better, doing better, learning from it, and growing. But as I like to say, progress over perfection. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And until next time, bye.